Asawa, it's your first time with BTS, isn't it? Ayo, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready, I'll start, yeah? Hey armies, welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen and this channel is all about sewing crafts and DIY projects. Really excited for this video because it is all about BTS. Yeah, we're going full on Koreaboo, so K-pop stans. This one is for you. I'm going to be sharing 3 different BTS themed items I have made using various sewing and embroidery techniques. And if this is your first time here, I have lots of other videos if you are new to sewing, perfect for beginners, so check some of those out. So let's get right into it. There are timestamps if you want to skip ahead to a certain project, and stay with me towards the end because I'm going to be sharing my top 3 BTS music videos. First up, if you're looking for more practical bathroom decor, I've created a towel set with BTS logo appliques on it that's more of a subtle nod to your BTS fandom. Whenever I see a towel set on sale at Target, I just buy it. They're great gifts and are easily personalized. I found BTS logo images online and traced them in a computer program called Electric Quilt 8. You'll hear more about this later. Printed it out in 2 sizes for both hand and bath towels. These were cut out and used as templates to trace the logo onto heavyweight, one-sided fusible interfacing. After cutting the interfacing, I had 2 pairs of each size. Amy Butler quilting cotton scraps were perfect for this project. The technique demonstrated here is sort of a cross between English paper piecing and applique. Interfacing was placed glue side down onto the wrong side of the fabric and fused according to the manufacturer instructions with an iron. Once the pieces cooled down, I trimmed the excess fabric about a ½ inch out on each side. Now comes the real work, folding over the fabric and pressing with my tiny iron. To keep the flaps in place before sewing, I applied Elmer's washable school glue and pressed again with the iron. There was some overlap on 2 edges, which I carefully trimmed off with scissors. The appliques need to go on the front, which is the side without the label. I found the center of the towel by folding it in half and used a square quilting ruler to measure up 2½ inches on the hand towels. That's where I placed the pieces. Instead of pins, I often use Fabri-Tac glue to secure something in place before sewing. Doesn't it look awesome so far? With the larger bath towel, I marked out the center with an air-soluble pen and did the same, but measured up 4½ inches since it's a bigger area. One more step. Edge stitching about 1/8 inch with a standard straight stitch, length of 3.5. Overlap the stitches to lock them in place. This is the full towel set in all its glory, hanging in my bathroom where I can express my BTS love even here. Of course, I had to do something to celebrate the release of Suga / Agust D's latest hit rap single, Daechwita. Did you know Suga is the first ever Korean artist to get the #1 spot on Billboard's digital rap song sales? Daechwita is a genre of Korean military-style music. The song is heavily inspired by and samples actual Daechwita. How about we make a simple zipper pouch as an ode to the song? Thanks to free embroidery software and Brilliance Express, I designed text to embellish the fabric. I've got a whole video dedicated to this process if you want to learn more. This is quilting cotton with interfacing fused to the back, plus cutaway stabilizer in the hoop. Here's all my cutout fabric. Main pieces are 12 inches by 6 inches, with zipper tabs 1 inch by 3 inches, plus a 9-inch zipper. I rounded all the corners to make it easier to sew. Putting tabs on each end of the zipper adds a nice contrast, and results in neater looking corners at the top. Fabric glue really helps in the construction process, substituting for pins. I sewed the main and lining pieces right sides together with the zipper tape sandwiched in between. Then I folded the fabric away from the zipper, pressed neatly, and top stitched about 1/4 inch from the edge. After repeating on the other side of the zipper tape, I started clipping the main and lining fabrics right sides together. Marking off about 5 inches on the bottom of the lining for turning later. Back at the sewing machine, I sewed around the entire perimeter with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, except for the marked off portion. I like to go slow at the rounded corners. Trimming the seam allowance at the corners with pinking shears will eliminate some bulk in that area. Through the opening in the lining, I turned the pouch right side out. The final step is to close up the opening by folding in the fabric, pressing and using Elmer's washable school glue to keep everything in place. At this point, I edge stitched about 1/8 of an inch in so there are no raw seams. I tucked the lining back inside and that's it! Recently I've done 2 more in-depth tutorials on making zipper pouches. If you want to check them out, I'll link here and down in the info box. This one's for you, Suga. This was actually the most complicated of all the projects because I had to design my own quilt blocks. I have a program called Electric Quilt 8, I'll link it below if you're interested. And then I found the BTS and the Army logos online. I imported them into that program, and then I designed what's called a foundation paper piece block that is a quilting technique for trademark purposes. Unfortunately, I don't think I can release the pattern I made, but you can see how I did it, and I just thought this was the coolest thing ever. I took the blocks I made and turned them into a set of coasters. Here's the designed block printed out on water-soluble paper. Foundation paper piecing is sort of like sew by number and allows very accurate piecing and sharp points. The block is made in 2 parts, then joined at the end. Paper piecing is a great way to use up scraps. I glued the first piece to the blank side and pinned the second piece on. At the sewing machine, I stitched right on the line. For each section, I cut back the threads and folded back the paper on the line. This is an add a quarter ruler. It has a 1/4 inch lip on one edge to make it easier to trim with the rotary cutter. Then I pressed back the fabric on the blank or right side, and it should cover the entire section. These steps are repeated for all sections of the template. When it's finished, I trimmed all sides on the seam allowance lines. After both sides are done, they are sewn right sides together. With my mini iron, the seams are pressed open on the front and back. So now I've got 5.5 inch blocks made of both the BTS and Army logos. How did they get turned into coasters? For each coaster, I used 1 quilt block, a 7.5 inch fabric square for the back and faux binding, and a 5.5 inch square each of cotton batting and Insul-Bright insulated lining. I marked and pressed a 1/4 inch on each side of the backing. A line of glue keeps the sides in place. When all 4 sides were done, I marked and pressed 1/2 inch lines the same way. On the side showing the raw edges, I marked 1 inch from each corner and used those to draw a diagonal line. Folding right sides together and lining up the marked line, this is what I sewed on each corner. On a pressing board, I poked out the corners and repressed each side. Then I layered in this order: Insul-Bright on the bottom, cotton batting, and the quilt block on top. Starting at the corners, I inserted this sandwich into the back. Wonder clips were used to keep the faux binding and layers in place. I edge stitched all the way around each coaster. For some added detail, I decided to stitch in the ditch around the outline of each logo piece. This made the logos stand out more. Here's the set of 4 finished coasters, so now my drinks can even show off some BTS flair. With the Electric Quilt 8 program, you can easily switch the sizes of the block. This is a 5 inch block. With the seam allowance, it's 5.5 inches. You can switch it into a 19 inch block, a 20 inch block, whatever you want. so I will be using these again in the future for more BTS themed items. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much I've wanted to do this video. I'm a relatively new but very enthusiastic BTS fan. If you like this video, let me know below in the comments and hit that like button so I can know, because I've got a few more ideas for some more BTS projects. And as promised, here are my top 3 BTS music videos. Number 3, I would have to say War of Hormones. I know that's kind of an older song, it's more retro BTS, but I love the song itself. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's one of the few BTS videos that actually has a female in it. I've noticed in later videos, there's no girls. Is that on purpose? I don't know. Number 2, Mic Drop, the Steve Aoki collab. I loved the song. I thought the video was a fun concept, and it was a different kind of style than you expect from like a boy band. So that is my second pick. Number 1, one of the earlier songs as well, Dope. I loved all the outfits the guys had on, like the pilot and the race car driver and like the office worker. The song was a lot of fun. It's about working hard, which I'm all for, and the dancing was insane. I'm not much of like a dance aficionado. I'm a pretty terrible dancer, but I so appreciate the amazing choreography. And P.S., my favorite member is definitely J-Hope. So those are my top 3 BTS music videos. Let me know what's your favorite song, favorite music video. I'd love to meet more BTS fans out there because I am fangirling out, guys. If you found your way here because of the BTS connection, but you're like, Jen, I've never used a sewing machine in my life. Sewing is awesome, and I've got a video right here on how to use a sewing machine, so check that out. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of The Sewing Report. I'll see you next time.